working on the battle spoon, and I am a little discombobulated as I have been the past couple of days. But I'm going to be getting ready to put on some PPE. I think that's personal protection equipment, I think is what that stands for. Because I was earlier using my cool little Dremel tool. That thing was just kicking up dust like you wouldn't believe, and I'm just inhaling it, and that's just no bueno for anybody. So that will be, this will be being applied today. You know, I'm not a safety first kind of person. I'm safety third. We're going to consider this safety third. Safety first is not getting my fingers all torn up with this little cool Dremel rotary bit. It's so cool, by the way. Let's see, I'm going to call this the Battle Spoon Wrap Up. And if it will let me. Oh, okay. I'm still learning how to social media like the youngsters these days do. Okay, and then we're going live. And we are going up, and away. There we are. And let's get this on. Actually, let me see my crazy hat here. Get my cool 70s part going. I didn't put this on first before I made the opening of the video because it would have been pretty hard to understand me. I don't know if you ever tried talking to someone with a respirator on, but it doesn't work well. Not usually. And I'm going to be doing this part first so I can get it done and over with, and then I can work on the hand sanding and then go from there. I think I got it. Here. Okay. Alright, so get the fan out the way. Put the hat on. Safety glasses. I don't even know if you guys can hear me at this point. Hopefully it doesn't fog up too much. But these glasses are these gloves. These are actually great. When I was running it earlier, like if you guys can hear me, let me know actually. Because it's pretty hard. Oh no, my safety glasses are fogging up so bad. I almost feel like I gotta get my full face mask up. That's in the house. Alright. Almost there. Okay. Let's get my cigars out of the way. Alright, so here's what I'm working on right here today. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Like I said, if you guys can hear me, let me know. I want to know how clear I am through the mask. Alright. So, let's get this strapped in. Okay, put about right there. Alright. Hey guys, I'm Rachel. I don't know if you can understand me or not. If you can understand me, give me a like or a 1 in the comments. Oh boy. Alright. Without further ado. That took a while. Sorry.
It does. That's funny. I don't know if you guys can understand me or not, but that's pretty fun. Good guy. A little over 5 feet tall. Yeah, that's good. Holy sauce. Everywhere. Now I'm just covered in sawdust. Let's see. Okay, all right, let's see.
Woo! That was a wild ride. Hi guys, how's it going? I'm Rachel. I'm out of Detroit. Covered in sawdust, as you can see. And working on a big old battle spoon. Ow. I'll show you. For those that just tuned in, here's the battle spoon, the big guy. This is the template for this one right here. And this one right here that I'm working on, it's made out of white oak. Whereas the one I just showed you, that one's actually made out of pine. And I'm not entirely sure I'm done yet. But yeah, I think that's gonna be the depth of the bowl. It doesn't need to be that deep. It's for battle, of course, not for eating. Yeah, I might go a little bit deeper. I'm not sure yet. But so far, I think that's where I'm gonna, oh, hang on, I gotta check something, so I'll be right back. So, look at this. This looks like it's ready for hand sanding. You tell it's a spoon, yeah? You guys can tell? I can tell it's a spoon. I don't know if I need to go deeper or not. Part of me says yes, but part of me says no, because I still gotta shape the back, and you still gotta have some meat on it, you know, meat on the bone, so to speak. Let me see how I'm doing that. We'll start sanding and see how things go. And not choke on your own saliva. Sheesh. That wasn't fun. If you guys got any questions, feel free to ask. Alright, let me get some... Oh, my sandpaper, I put it all away last night, actually. So we gotta get that. And get this out of the way. Oh my gosh, the amount of dust that little bit threw into the air, that's incredible. Alright. Let's just grab all of it. 8 o'clock. Got all my sandpaper right here. Okay. Put my little tool over there. Put on my sandpaper. Actually, I'm going to put my rasps up too. Bear with me while I'm getting some things out of the way for a bit more flow, a bit better flow. All my little knives. God, I have so many of those little critters. Should probably give those away. I do a giveaway. You guys will probably enjoy them. They're neat little, cute little guys. Okay. I'll move this back. I'll move my sandpaper in. Oh, you know what? I need to rasp the top of this. Get it cleaned up. I might actually need to go a little bit deeper on this bowl. I don't know. I'm still debating it. Because the one I did here is actually a 1/2 inch deeper, or a 1/2 inch thicker of what I made it out of. But I'm not sure. You know, I might just skip that for now. Or what do you guys think? Should I go deeper or should I leave it? It's starting to really eat at me now. Because this one's actually not too much deeper. The difference is it's got that more coping to it, more transition. And this one does have it. But this one really has it. Actually, where's my carving gouge? Let's see what my little gouge does. We'll address it with that. See what that does. Holy sawdust. Okay. Alright. I gotta get some gloves on actually, because this thing is sharp. Or at least it was. I used it on some oak. I probably took some Mickey of it. Craftsman Stews, how's it going? It goes. I did some gouging, I don't know what you want to call it, on the bowl portion of the spoon with my cool little tool, but I'm thinking I need to gouge it a little deeper. I'm not sure, but it seems like that's what I need to do. One of the hardest things about working with oak is it can tear out like no other. Like pine can around knots, but oak is like, oh, it just gets nasty. If I do some nice transition, it'll do better. Okay, and how's it going? And then Hammer Vlog says, good morning. Oh, hi. Where are you from? That it's morning time. It is 8:05 where I'm at in Detroit. User says, hi. Javier says, hit me hard. I don't know what that means. That's a very odd thing to ask, or demand rather. Oh, that's actually looking better with the bit of transition there. There's some tear out happening there, damn it. Tear out is such a bummer. You can have such a nice fluid piece going, and you can get some tear out, and it can just really make your day difficult. And I almost just had that happen. Get around. And this probably, truthfully, would carve better if I had it sharpened. I don't really want to, I don't know, sharpening this thing? It's kind of a wild idea. Like, I'm sure I could do it, I've just never tried. Nope, that's not going to work. Let's come at it from this way. tear out. It's wanting to happen there so bad. Okay. Yeah, let's try and sand that and see what happens. Actually, I gotta blow my nose now with all the dust floating around. Holy moly. Holy moly. Let's get some water. Kind of want to smoke a cigar, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it's just going to be counterproductive if I do tonight. I don't need this. Actually, I don't even use that anymore. Even a little garbage. Okay, what's this little? Yeah, I'll just work with this. I'm actually going to do some sanding, and then when I get finished with it, I'm going to put water all over it. Not a lot, just a little bit. And to get the tiny little fibers to rise up, and then I'm going to sand it again. Ooh, this arm is tired. Yeah, get that one little piece gone. A little problem. It wants to tear out so bad. I'm gonna have to sand it out of there. It's kind of amazing that when you have a little bit of a problematic spot, you can just sand it out and the headache is gone. That's what I'm going to try to do here. And then when I'm all done sanding it, I'm going to be staining it like a deep walnut color. Girl wants it to be like her friends, and that's what I'm going to aim to do. Right, that sandpaper is toast. Let's actually get. Where's my 100 grit? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Actually, what else? Some 80 grit in here? What are you? 100? That's what metal roll. What is this? I'm gonna go over to Instagram on this one feed. Why not? Alright, smartphone. Man, this forearm is so tired at this point in time. Okay. Come on. Alright, there we go. I'm still learning how to like do social media. I can't figure out how to type for nothing. There we go. Okay. There we go. And, all right, see what happens. Maybe I will try that 60 grit. Why not? Get through some of them deep pits. Let's see how that works. This stuff is so brittle. Yeah, it just actually just snapped on me. Even just talking about it. You look at it wrong, it gets brittle. Ooh, I don't know what that's about. Got something kind of all bad and gross and dirty on it. Not really convinced that it actually does the 60 grit work they're saying it does. It seems kind of, I don't know. Kind of chintzy. Ah, let's try this. Here. If this is 60 grit here, I'll give this a shot. Yeah, this might work better. The other stuff, it's this is 60 grit, this is 220. That makes more sense. Yeah, that other stuff, it's I don't know, it's from Harbor Freight, and I actually usually have no issues with their waterproof stuff. I don't know what that stuff was. The 60 grit, it's so bad. It was like just crumbling in my hands. And Cast Whisper, I know a spoon when I see one. Yes, good, correct. I'll show you what it's gonna look similar to when it's done. This is a template for it. This thing's a little over 5 feet long. It's freaking cool. This one's made out of pine, but this one's made out of oak. And, yeah, you know a spoon when you see them. You are correct, the mundo. Battle spoons. I'm hoping to get it wrapped up tonight. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, come on, sandpaper. Work with me. I usually cut this in one of them like paper chopper thingy majiggers where you like pull the handle down, but I didn't even realize I had this. Not this pack. Let's see what this can do now. There's been a saying that if it doesn't work with this hammer, get a bigger hammer. I guess with sandpaper, get heavier grit sandpaper. There we go, that feels better. I don't usually sand my wood things up very high either. Usually like 220 max, that's it. And then, message retracted. I don't know what that means. Is this a prop? Yeah, you know, actually that's a really fair question. That's a really good question. I guess it could be. It's Renfair, Renaissance Fair, the Runnings. They're into this. It's they call them battle spoons. And this is like a battle spoon staff. But they make them in all different lengths and sizes, and this one will be hopefully serving them well in duels at the Renfair. As I understand it, the whole idea behind battle spoons started because they have weapons rules, and they gotta be tied down. They can only come out. They call it like a good faith or something like that. And so they started making them. They started off, I believe, about this size right here. This is about 22 inches long, if I recall. And they put it in their belt, and they'd walk around with this silly big spoon in their belt, and then they'd pull it out, and they'd battle and duel it out. And it's become a silly, fun, whimsical thing amongst Renfair people. No. Let's set you down so you don't fall. How annoying? That's just the way life is, ain't it? No matter what we do in life, we cannot get away from things that will annoy us. And it just depends on how you view things as well. Some may view what I'm doing as annoying. Some may view carrying my strips the way I do annoying, but everybody has their own way, and that's just life. The part about using rotary tools for gouging is, or any gouging tool, is you can have some deep gouges to fix. It's just gonna take a while to get through these. Luckily, I do have a sheet of 60 grit, so that will help a considerable amount. Create a portal to Earth. Wait, what is your name? You're a Jake. I don't even say your name. Create a portal to Earth and Andromeda Galaxy, please. And then Raphael Bosch says there's got to be a better way to do that. I wish there was. Gouging it out, I actually was using a little bit of a gouging spoon for like making like little tiny spoons that you could actually use in the kitchen. And since it's oak, it takes no prisoners. And so unfortunately, gotta grin and bear it for a good part of this. Just the nature of the beast, as I say. And I'm sure there's like different coarseness rotary burrs. Because I did this with the most coarse one that Cuts All has for my Dremel. And it actually did pretty good. But it did leave a little bit of gouges here and there. Not horrible, but they are there. I have to stretch my arm real quick. Ooh, keeps getting tight in that elbow. She says, I thought you were a girl. I am a girl. Yeah, okay, comically large spoon. Okay, yep, you got it. Here it is. A battle spoon. A little over 5 feet long. That one's made out of pine. That was a lot easier to make. Is it instrumental or what? No, it's just like a giant staff spoon. Like, she will walk around the Renfair probably with her battle spoon staff, her pole arm, if you will. And she will duel people and have a great time. Something I've learned with sandpaper, how to get through things usually quicker on like steel when you're hand sanding a knife that you've ground to ground the bevels in and stuff, is don't try to get everything you can out of the sandpaper. It's kind of a fool's errand, in my opinion at least. And you get through a lot more if you just keep with the sharpest end of the grit. That's what I'm trying to do right here. It's hard to do because you want to get every bit you can out of it, but sometimes you just gotta kind of use the new stuff, the fresh stuff, and keep moving through it. Little by little. Scratch by scratch. What is my sanding tool? Sandpaper. Let me see. Sofadofa. That name's funny. Says, oh, hell yeah. And Ton 8, I think that's how you say your name. A girlfriend is like a good carpenter. No wood gets wasted. Thanks for that sage advice. I have to share it with the guys I know. And then Sofadofa says liking. Hey, right on. I appreciate it. Thank you. And then Mayura Jig. I don't know how to say your name. I wish I could pronounce it right. Use boat. I don't know what that is. And where's my sanding tool? This is a sanding tool. Paper. Sniff some wood sand. You do it first. Take a video, and then I'll consider it. Put your money where your mouth is. I'm willing to do almost any dare as long as the person daring me does the dare first. Or with me. But if you're not willing to, you just kind of look like a sissy. Just saying silly things to get a rise out of people. And that's kind of nerdy. Some of it's starting to come out of there slowly but surely. Yeah, it is a big spoon. What's your name? Renesco Dio. Yeah, it's a big old spoon. It's a big old battle spoon. I have very tired forearms, but yeah, it can be strong, I guess. But they are very tired. And then Mascot Dio, I now really want to see it use a super big bowl. That's been a running joke with my girlfriend and I now, actually. And that would be kind of funny. Stretch my arm a little bit. Okay. It is getting through it a little bit. I mean, it will, obviously, but it's a good sight to see when you see the work you're doing is starting to pay off and it's, making a noticeable difference. This little spot right here is a real bugger. Okay. How long have I been doing this today? This is, I did it for 2 hours earlier, but I was doing like staff work. The bowl grinding, that took me about 45 minutes. And now here I am sanding. Tone 8, the amount of space I rent in your head is wonderful, gotta say. TJ Walls, your first watcher, hi. And then Chantel, no, I'm saying they're strong. I couldn't do that longer than 1 minute. And Tone 8 is just one of them people that likes to come in and say really disrespectful things because they think they're funny. Sometimes it actually is. God, that would take a joke. But more than anything, you have to take pity on people like Tone 8 because, they're projecting. Actually, that piece might be done. Let's see. Yeah, I still got a little light left in this. there's really not, I don't think there's really anything you could say at this point that could offend me. I mean, you could try, of course, but it'd be like, what a waste of time. I mean, there are people that have nothing better to do in life. But I got absolutely ripped in half by the Fortune and Fire fan base. Oh my gosh. That was, if you want to get some sea legs about you, go on a TV show and fail miserably to the point where you start getting crazy messages by all kinds of people asking you why you made such a horrible decision, and then they start having these crazy fights on the Fortune Fire fanbook page or Facebook page, and then they have to start deleting posts because people are getting so angry and they're being so mean. So no, anything you say, no, it doesn't bother me. Just let it roll off my back. Everyone's got an opinion. Some just don't know how to keep it to themselves. I can't believe this is starting to kind of come out. That was really gouged up. I'll take it. Let's get a new sheet, actually. You can't try to get, like, I gotta, stick to myself, practice what I preach. You can't try to get everything out of a piece of sandpaper, especially the really low grades, like 60, like this is. Just can't do it. Chantel says, that's awful. People are effing nuts these days. Yeah, it was actually 7 years ago. So it was actually, for even social media standards of today, it was pretty wild for standards of then. It was really far out. Like, people got really emotional. And I'm just like, whoa, okay, all right, wow. It was my decision to make, and yeah, I get it that it offended you guys, but whoa, simmer down now. And then the Shuriken Zone, greetings from Atlanta. If you forge yourself a TWCA can, you could carve out a spoon bowl like that in 5 or 10 minutes with a little practice. I don't know what that is. I will have to look that up. That's very interesting. And there's actually a really good blacksmith down in Atlanta. Really great guy, too. Goat and Hammer Forge and his counterpart, Jessica. They are wonderful people. Really good blacksmiths, too. I am not forging anything. I haven't forged anything in weeks, actually. Shoot, it might even be months at this point. There we go. Gotta get this stretching. Feel that nerve. Wow, that feels good though. That was quite a stretch. So, actually, hang on, I'll show you. I do have metal right here. I got a flex shaft, and this is what I use to gouge it out. And this is, I don't actually have another tool similar to this, so this one, it dug it out, but it put some fair gouges in there. And if I had like maybe a couple coarse, like less abrasive rotary bits, I probably could have used that. But as it stands for me, the tools that I have, no, I don't have, not as far as I know, any bits that would actually do a better job. I know, trust me, I did look, because I was just like, this would be pretty cool if I could. But no, this is just one of them where I gotta bite the bullet until I can level up, so to speak, in tools. Okay, so Shuriken Zone says, oh, yeah, are you thinking about, oh, Chantel says, I was thinking about that, useful but aggressive. Yeah, it's a really awesome tool, don't get me wrong. Oh, and then he said, I only know how to clean people's ears, failed woodworking in high school. That's wild, far out. Shuriken Zone says, TWCA cam is a specialized Welsh spoon knife. Very cool. I want to really look into that. Usually with a rather long handle. Really efficient for carving large spoon bowls. No way. You use sort of a paddling motion. Far out. I'm really going to look into that. Trump just flew over my house today, actually. Jam8939 says, I'll have so many questions. What is the giant spoon? Is forging an expensive or lucrative profession in America? Forging is a very hard profession to make a living in. You have got to be very, very consistent, and you have got to be good at networking. It helps to network with people of all different businesses. Celebrity status, that really helps. And making quality stuff. Although there are some people that make not so quality, and they got really famous. No one really understands it, but hey, when you're good looking, it sells. And then there are those where they're just, mediocre looking. They're kind of like average, and they do pretty good too. It just, personality can go really far. And let me see. I have so many questions. So this giant spoon is a battle spoon. This is something that the Renfair people, Renaissance Festival. I don't know where you're from, since you said in America. I'm gonna assume out of America, but this is a giant battle spoon. It is like a staff, and it is something people will carry with them at Renaissance festivals, and they'll have duels with them, and they'll just have a good time out there, with the fellow Rennies. And then Shurikenso says this hand tool will do it much faster than a power tool with practice, because the end result will require almost no sanding. To be completely honest, that makes sense, because I will say the gouge right here that I was using, I was thoroughly impressed at how well this worked on the other one I was building, and I'm really very interested in that now. I've been going live for 2 weeks. Have I made any good connections? I actually have not been making many connections. I've not really put anything like that out there. I have, we'll say, friends in the smithing world. I have customers I've made things for over the years, but I did not make anything for, well, I didn't sell anything, we'll say, for like 4 years. I have a health issue. I got really sick, yada yada, that whole nine song and dance. And I actually just got back on social media probably last fall, and I've just been coming at it from a slow angle. But for those that can really dive in head first, oh yeah, like the ones that can do like meet and greets and shows and stuff like that, yeah, it can pan out. But personality, it goes a long way. It's like, what's the guy's name? Johnny Cupcakes. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Johnny Cupcakes, but he is a guy that got his fame by following actually the Warped Tour. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Warped Tour or not. When I was a kid, that was what we used to do every summer. When you're into punk rock, you went to the Warped Tour. And Johnny had this idea that he'll start following the Warped Tour, and he came up with a really simple t-shirt design. And it was like a cupcake, a real simple clip art one with crossbones underneath it, and it was the Johnny Cupcakes brand. And by showing up at every single day, because it was like, like a day, every other day, they were playing a new venue, the bands and some of the employees got familiar with him, and he just had that personality where he could just mingle and talk, and now he hangs out with celebrities and has stores across the world, as far as I know. And that was originally how it started, but it was his ability to network. And he's like expert level just by nature. Like, that guy is naturally gifted on socializing. And then Shurikenso says, I have blacksmith friends, though I've never done much smithing myself, but I have a huge affinity for greenwood spoon carving. Yeah, that greenwood's the most fun to carve for sure. And I've never made a kuksa. That's one of the things I do want to make. And then Jam8939 says, very whimsical spoon. I'm in the UK. Your stream has come up at the best time. Well, hey, right on. I've recently visited the metalwork exhibition in Sheffield. Yeah, yep. Sheffield steel, man, ain't nothing like it. Birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. I did not know it started there. That's very cool. I actually, oh, no, you guys, I think, had a revolution before America, if I recall. And I think we got it like 50 years after you. I think that's how it went. I don't know, it's really cool history. I got to get back into it. I have not actually, I think, yet come across a Sheffield hand file. And that's one I've been hunting for, because Sheffield steel, it's world famous for good reason. It's like Solingen out of Germany. Chantel, so yes, it can be very intimidating. I have had some really crazy commenters and followers come through my socials when I'm live, saying some really strange stuff. I've gotten really strange messages. On top of that, you gotta put yourself in front of people, even if they're a bunch of really cool people. Like, you guys are being cool, and it's still like you're still seeing me. You're still seeing what I'm working on, and it keeps you honest. That's one of my favorite parts about going live. It does keep you honest, and I've only been doing really lives. Go away here. Go get over there. All right. I've thought about starting making actual videos, because to be completely honest, that actually intimidates me, to make videos versus going live. Because when you make videos, you know what I mean. That's like you gotta do editing, and you have to have like kind of a story and all that stuff. And yeah, that's just, to me, that's quite intimidating. But I do like video editing. I did it in high school. That was really a cool class. And editing is a bit intimidating in its own right. But yep, You sure know what you was talking about. That's for sure. I actually had, when I was on Forge and Fire, a local woman who was kind of aggressive, and she was saying some pretty mean things about me in some of those posts that people were losing their mind over. And I corrected her and told her, you know, like, I know it seems like a really dumb thing to do, but you didn't read the contract we had to sign, yada yada. And she got really offended that I told her why I made the decision I made. And so I actually ended up repainting the shed that I'm in, so it did not look like the one that was on TV. So that kind of freaked me out. And Chantel says that's hilarious because I'm the complete opposite. I have 1.2 million followers on TikTok and I've avoided it for 2 years because of the pressure. I totally get it. I do have to psych myself up sometimes. You know what I mean? It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was actually really awesome. But yeah, no, I do gotta psych myself up sometimes. And I'll say, the fact that I'm always working on something, that really helps. And like I said, I've been going live, not making actual videos, or complete videos rather. And there's been some people that started following along and finding it pretty cool, and that's been cool. And like I usually smoke cigars nonstop while I'm making stuff, and right now I'm not because I really want to get this done. I want to get this to the girl so bad. She's super excited about it, so it's like I'm kind of avoiding things that are taken away from productivity, I guess you could say. But yeah, nonetheless, psyching up, absolute requirement for me as well. Imposter syndrome. Yes, very well said. Absolutely. I have absolutely had those times because I have like 150 followers, you know what I mean? I know I don't even have that many. I think I got 139. I might have a little more now, but hey, guys, give me a follow. But anyway, I don't have many followers, but I was just like, that whole imposter syndrome where I'm like, you know, is this really like what? Am I good enough for this? Like, and then it's like, well, anybody's good enough for something they really put their mind to. At least that's my thoughts. I have seen people that are seemingly not very good at something that really put their nose to the grindstone, and they came out being successful. And that's really inspiring when you see something like that. Chantel says much more doable with busy hands. Yeah, busy hands does definitely help. And Jam8939 says, what's the craziest thing you've ever made, metallurgy or woodwork? Metallurgy, the metallurgy I do is not like alchemy. It's just I work with high carbon steels. Oh, son of a biatch. Oh, that was me being mindless. Craziest thing I ever made was actually the thing I made on Forge and Fire. And actually probably the first one I made, the first round blade, which actually did pass. That was the craziest thing I've ever made. I'll show you one of the other craziest things I ever made. I actually brought it out here for some wind down time and show and tell. I need to put new handles on it. But this right here, this is a big old Jason Knight. He was a judge on Forge and Fire. He's like my knife making hero. Knife, and that was a lot of fun. That was one of them. And here's a fun one I made. This one I just made just playing around with big ugly things, and I swing them both in my yard and keeps my neighbors honest. This is just a big ugly thing I made. It was inspired by like a alligator garfish, and that was my whole idea behind it. And then kind of like Irish skiing. I absolutely love cultural cutlery, especially Southeast Asia, but I have a lot for the Celts. I'm Celtic. I love it. But yeah, those are some of the craziest things I've made. Okay, Chantel says, yes, fake it until you make it. Although the more you know, the more you know. You don't know. Yeah, actually, what was the saying? I was watching, I love history, and they were talking about some things that they found in actually, I think it was over in Scotland. I think it was a little town. And when I say town, I mean it was like the size of a city block. But it was living quarters for several families, they assumed. And they had all these ideas before that of how things work. And then when they uncovered this little town that they dug out from the ground, that was their words. The more we learn, the less we know. And that was really wild. To learn that, we think we know so much, and then we find out they did it completely different, and you're like, oh. Jam says, oh my god. And then Chantel, is it custom made work, or do you have items that you regularly make? I love watching that show, and I probably have seen you on TV, although I forget what I watch. I was on season 4, episode 14, the Kachin Dao. I actually have the blade I made. Big ugly bar of steel that it is. Let's see if I can show you guys. You can see that blade thing under by the belt sander back there? That's the one that was actually on the show. I was the runner-up, so I got my blade returned because they started doing that in season 4. I'll show you what a real one looks like. Hang on. It is all covered in dust. But this is a real Kachin Dao from Burma, and this is what we were supposed to make, something like this. It's actually a really fantastic machete, and I do use this in my yard. And do I drive a Subaru? Oh, that was a lowbrow joke. No, hell no, I don't drive a Subaru. I almost did, though. I drive a pickup truck. You thought you were being clever. You got. Chantel says, that's so cool. I have to Google the old episodes and see if I can see it. Was it the full pig they cut up? I was a bit traumatized. The full pig that they cut up, I think, was my friend Wayne Milligan from UPForge. He's awesome, by the way. A very skilled maker. I think that was his. The one that I was on, my friend Sean, who won, his completely eviscerated the skeleton and cut his head in half, like right through it. And he actually still has the top half of the head to this day. That was pretty wild to see that happen in person, to be completely honest. No, my blade was actually untestable. I messed up. And that's what made people really mad, that it was untestable. I mean, really mad. Man, I'm impressed. It's starting to come around little by little. Persistence. This is definitely a labor of love at this point. Attention to detail. Okay. So Jam89 says, you are armed to the teeth with SLR blades. Yes, I am. It's a real contrast to the battles you're working. Anyway, it is really silly. And Chantel says, crazy, did you end up becoming friends with the contestants or know them beforehand? I didn't know them beforehand. They're very dear friends of mine, all of them, all 3 of them. I actually have visited one of them. He and I actually talked the most. It's the guy that they probably should have given him subtitles because his name's Busta Grooves, and he got a southern accent like you ain't never heard. If you got family from Georgia, it made a little sense. My family's from North Georgia, but man, he talking like this all the time, and you didn't understand half the shit he was saying half the time. But he's a really good blacksmith, actually. Yeah, he's a very, very good friend of mine. And Barrel Proof Veteran, next question. Have you ever been an art teacher? No, God, no, I am never going to be an art teacher. Okay, wait, that's not true. If you mean art teacher by teaching blacksmithing, bladesmithing, I might do that. Okay, and then Strange says, you are doing a great job. One day it all will be worth it. Keep going, my friend. I trust you. Thank you. Alright, Chantel says, so cool. Love when friends have similar hobbies. George says, oh my god, his accent. I ain't kidding you. He actually came and visited me in Detroit because he works for a company that we have here. And we had to go to a restaurant, and him and his friend both came, and they're both from South Georgia. And they got them accents, and we're at the restaurant, and Buster and his friend Cecil were trying to order, and the girl's just, I'm sorry, what? And then he finally goes, "Do you understand me, young lady?" And she just was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And he goes, "Do you understand me, young lady?" And it was just we eventually got around to it, but oh my god, his accent is so strong. It is absolutely adorable. Technically watching Teaching Strangers, yeah. It says, great live stream. I subscribed, so hopefully I can watch another live stream. Do you do this frequently? So lately, yes, I have been doing this because I've been doing this battle spoon. For a while, I was doing hand sanding on a knife that I actually did not finish because it hurt my feelings and it made me a very sad panda. Let me see if I can find it to show you guys. I might have even hit it on myself because I'm such a sad panda over that knife. I actually might have, because I have all my other knives out and not that one. But anyway, yeah, I was doing it for a while, like I said, doing the handstanding and all that. And now I want to know what I did with that. Oh, there it is. This is a harpoon. Not a harpoon. It's a gut hook. That's what we call it. No, I forged this actually for a local guy, and it made me a sad panda, so I stopped working on it. But this was what I was doing for a while, and then I didn't do anything for a while. But with the battle spoon, yes, I have been live quite a bit, almost every day, almost twice a day, every day actually. And oh yeah, 2 a.m. in England. That makes sense. Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining. It's been a lot of fun. And hopefully I'll start making some more fun, actually making videos that are going to be a lot cooler. And yeah, hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good night. It looks so cool that it's finally like the scratches are starting to come. That makes me happy. It makes you feel like your efforts are not in vain, you know? That's where that persistence is key pays off. And the sandpaper is doing what I would hope it was, hoping what it was going to do. And that's, get them gouges out, but also, like, work in them transitions really nice. Yeah, rock and roll, dude. And, like, my ultimate goal of going live is to actually build community. Like, it is really cool to have a community for a maker because you get to have, like, an aesthetic, a style, a vibe, you know? And it's pretty cool when you get to have that community and you start doing like meet and greets and they start like getting actually to see the things you've actually made with your hands and the things they got to watch be made and stuff like that. It's, to me, that's always exciting to meet those makers. And I actually have done a few maker fairs, and I actually haven't done one in years. Like I said, there was health issues why I got away from a lot of it, but then the last one I went to was like a really, really, really bad storm came through. And it was supposed to be a really nice day, and this storm was so bad, we all had to lower our tents, like take them all the way down and hold on to them. So we had like, 2 adults in each tent, pretty much, because it was like pretty much 2 people per tent. It's just how it worked out as the makers are. And so we're like holding them down, and this storm came in. The sky was black, the sky went green, the winds were insane, and it was really nice afterwards, but everybody, went home because the weather was so bad. But I have been considering doing maker fairs again, just to get back out talking with people. It's so exciting to meet people that have an appreciation for handmade things. It's one of the coolest things for me. There is, you get to meet other makers, but other makers already make things. But when you meet people that are not makers and they're just into it, it's very cool. It's very rewarding. And I actually feel we're in a handmade renaissance right now, where people are over, mass-produced 1 of 10,000, and now they're like, hey, maybe I want like 1 of 1 or 1 of 10, and that's just, it makes me happy. It makes you feel like your efforts are not in vain, I guess. Some people will laugh at you and be like, handmade, ha ha ha, and it's like, handmade stuff is pretty cool. There's a lot of soul that goes into it. And that's partly why I like making my knives out of old files from the Rust Belt, because it's breathing new life into these tools that are, a lot of them, they're way cooked. They have lived their life very honorably, and I feel it's time to now make them into a worthy tool that'll be used honorably again, hopefully for another couple generations. Alright, Chantel says, sleep in your Subaru instead of a tent. I have slept in the back of, it wasn't a Subaru, it was a Dodge Caliber. That's what I had. And I miss that car. Those are sweet. I always liked the turbocharged Dodge Calibers. Those had a really cool body kit on them. Okay, this is Tony says, before Mount Everest was discovered, what was the tallest mountain on Earth? No idea. I think it was the one that was actually underground, in the water, or underwater. Chantessa set up a spoon booth at the Renaissance Fair next to the soup kitchen. Spoons for sale to eat your soup. That would be funny. I actually haven't had a good bread bowl in years. I think Panera was trying to make them for a while. I can't remember, but I remember when I was a kid, the bread bowls were a lot bigger than they used to be. I miss those. I miss going as a kid. I've only been, I think, one time in the past 10 years or so. My uncle, actually, I'm gonna have a cigar while I'm doing this. It seems to make time pass. My uncle was in a pipe and drum corps of Scottish heritage, and we used to go on the Highlander weekends when they'd flip the big telephone poles and throw the big heavy weights and all that. And he was in the pipe and drum, one of the pipe and drum corps bands that used to play there. It was always so much fun to come see. Which one do I want? I don't know. It was always exciting to go see him and be around the fellow Scottish. Actually, January 25th is Burns Night, and it's a really cool Scottish holiday if you guys are not familiar with it. And with my girlfriend's family every year, we make sausage, actually. And we make a Scottish whiskey sauce, and we get a really nice Scotch whiskey, usually Ardbeg. And we just have a good time making sausage and living up the night. And they're Polish. There's not an ounce of Scottishness in them. So it's always like a humorous thing that I wear my kilt, the whole nine and all that with my family colors. Chantal says 1850s. Oh, that's a big word. Is that named King Chenjunga? Is that still in the Himalayas by chance? And Chantal says, Tony, are you a child? Really strange comments. Tone 8 says, really, it was Mount Everest. Oh, that was a trick. I have a friend that used to, if he needed to get a ride somewhere and he thought people were too intoxicated, he would ask questions like that to prove your sobriety. Tone 8, you are a trip. Okay. So I actually don't always cut my cigars with my little herb chopper, which I just did. I usually like to bite the end off. But this one, I've never seen one wrapped quite this way. So I decided to cut this one. But I don't have my blowtorch, which is my favorite way to light a cigar. Where's my box of matches? Okay. There. Cap got in my mouth. And I lost my match on top of it. See what you're causing? Okay, sorry, I had to Tone 8 says, Chantel's Emery, here is the question for you. Would you rather spend a year at war or a year in prison? Chantel says, that's an interesting method of sobriety. And then Chantel says, a year in Canada where I don't have to worry about either. The Canuckians, I share a border with them. You always know you're waiting on a Canadian. When they ask for a Ryan Coke or the washroom, yeah? And then you know you got the Canucks. Alright, let's see. I cannot get this thing. Is like, I don't usually smoke cigars that are this fat. This one, we'll see how this works. This brand has actually been letting me down. This is the one that people have suggested I try, so here I am giving it a shot. The good old college try. Man, I can't believe. I am so happy I got this sandpaper. This made my night so much better, so much easier to work with. And the scratches are really starting to come out now. I actually don't like to remove every single scratch. To me, I like to leave a little markings here and there. Like, with my knives that are made from files, I like the teeth to show a little bit. I grind them off usually, but not always. Like, Actually, where's a good example? This is probably the best example I have. That is a good example, but not the one I'm looking for. But, yeah. Looks like a friggin' gecko. There it is. So this is actually made out of a farrier's rasp, and I like to grind the teeth down to where they get like little pyramids in them. But I like to know that it was something before this, and you can see like the file teeth side on that. And it's like I don't like to remove everything. And yeah, that's just kind of how I roll. And like the walking sticks that I made, same thing. I like to put like, actually, do I have my big guy? No, they're all over there right now. But here's one. Like you can't see too much on it, but like the end cap of the shillelagh, like I actually carve that with, I carve them in by hand on the bottom, and I don't take them to a sander afterwards. And like the carving I do around the handle before I wrap it, I do that all with a knife by hand. And it's just, I like to see that there's work done, and yeah, that's my vibe. But wow, shillelagh. Ah! I almost just knocked everybody for a loop. And how rude when someone just joined over on Instagram. I'm sorry. Oh, they already left anyway. It's okay. Come on, smartphone. Do smart things. Oh my god, what is going on? Okay, stop doing that. I don't know how to like social media very well. There we go. I think I got something figured out. There we go. It connects for your hometown team. And I have had authentic Cubans. I've had one authentic Cuban. It was a Cohiba. It was really very good in the sense that it was super clean. But the best cigars I've ever had were actually from Nicaragua. And actually, Cuba is the largest importer of tobacco now in the entire world because the demand is so high for their cigars that they now import from Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic. And my home team, we are the Red Wings. White and red till I'm cold and dead. And I should just agree, it's an experience though. And then it's like a mallet. Very interesting. Wait, I don't know if you're talking to me right now. Uh-oh. He said it's like a mallet. Oh boy, I need water. How about that, hydration? Are you originally from Canada, Chantel? When I was a kid growing up, and because we're right on the border in Detroit, it was tradition. So when you turn 21 in America, you can drink. But when you're on a border state, when you turn 19, everybody goes to Canada, and you go get plastered in Canada. It was a lot of fun. It was almost always loaded with Americans that were 19 years old. I can only imagine how the cops felt having a bunch of drunk 19-year-old Americans running around, causing mayhem and havoc. I'm getting so close to getting this little guy out. It's getting there. And then JJ says, wait, you are American? Can I ask you something? Yes, I am American, and yes, you can ask. I may or may not answer. Fire away. Do I sound like a Canadian? Alright, JJ says, what is a pound cake? Why is it called that? What does it usually taste like? Is it dense, fluffy, light? Actually, so pound cake, at least the pound cake I had, well, actually, so I've had homemade pound cake, and then I've had store-bought. And they are a bit different. The pound cake I have had in America that was homemade is, it was more like an Irish soda bread. It was really heavy. It was, weighed like a pound. I mean, it's really like about that big, weighs a pound, it's dense, it's heavy, it's really good. And it was tasty. It was very tasty, and it was not that buttery. However, the pound cake I have that was store-bought was quite buttery. and it had a reminiscence. No, that's not fair. I was gonna say like a reminiscence of like Scottish shortbread, like Doric style. That's what my family makes, but that's not fair. That's not really the right flavor. If you ever had something called yellow cake, it can almost be along those lines, but like a very buttery version. But yeah, it is dense and fluffy, but not exactly light. It's I don't know. It's really good though. Both versions I actually like. And the pound cake recipe that I had that was homemade, or the one that I used to have, was I think it was actually from England. If that makes a difference. So JJ says, "Oh wow, that is very interesting. I googled it, but I have never seen this answer, and it always confused me. Thank you for telling." Yeah, you're welcome. It's if you ever get a chance, try it. Honestly, it's really very good. Traditionally over here, we would have it with coffee or tea. I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but that was the standard. You don't see it much these days. It was more common amongst the elderly when I was a kid. We always liked it though. It was something we did like a whole lot. And I heard two different histories that they called it a pound cake because it weighed a pound, and then I heard they called it a pound cake because it was a holdover from something like Middle English. So I that part I don't know. I wish I did, but it does make me curious. And then S. Featherstone says, "What are you making? A trebuchet?" No, you're not the first person to ask that. Someone asked me if I was making a catapult. No, I'm making a battle spoon. That's interesting. I wonder why it looks that way. So this is a battle spoon I made, a Gigantor. This one's over 5 feet long, just a little bit over 5 feet long. And this one is a template for this one that's made out of white oak. And I'm currently sanding the bowl right now. Let me get some stuff, get a little closer. And holy sandpaper, don't be so mean. JJ says, I always thought it was sweet. It can be very sweet. Pound cake can be very sweet. But it's like like how they do it in the UK. It's like buttery and sweet. Like I said, the way my family makes shortbread, Doric style, which is what some call wet shortbread, it is buttery and it is sweet. So it's kind of, both of those. But the stuff I had that was homemade wasn't as sweet as store-bought. It usually never is. Actually, I don't even really see that in stores anymore. That used to be everywhere, come to think of it. It's kind of wild. That's interesting. Like I said, I gotta look up the history because I remember it was like a teacher or something telling me the history. And yeah. But in England, I do like? I like bubble and squeak. Do you guys ever have that? Was it New Year's Day? I think you guys eat it, or New Year's Eve, Christmas Day. I don't know. Bubble and squeak. I'm a big fan of that. That's tasty stuff. I actually make a version of it often for breakfast. It is just amazing to have for breakfast. I actually got it out of a Harry Potter cookbook, a really good one. One of the coolest little cookbooks I've ever owned. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. I've asked some English before. Well, they said they were English. Maybe they had a really good fake accent, but they didn't know what I was talking about. Actually, that was kind of strange. But yeah, that's an amazing meal. I might even make some tomorrow for breakfast. Come to think of it, I haven't had none in so long. We didn't make none for New Year's Day, and we wanted to. We totally forgot about it. The in-laws were over, and oh, that would have been so good. Okay, that's good in there. All right. I'm afraid to step up. Great. actually, it is time to step it up. Let's go to the next drip. Actually, I dropped one of them right down here. Ugh. I am getting this spoon stained by tomorrow night. That's all there is to it. I have got to get this thing done. And I'm not going to go too terribly much longer. But I appreciate you guys hanging around, keeping me company. It actually is a lot of fun talking about life, handmade, personal interests, all that fun stuff. Just makes, it's like listening to music while you're crafting. And I don't actually listen to a lot of music these days. I was like going to punk rock shows every weekend for, God, years and years and years. And then one day I just, I don't know, stopped listening to music. I'm not sure why, but I did. Gotta stretch this arm a bit. Okay. Well, that was fucked up. Okay. 9:11 p.m. Gunshots just blasted off like a mofo if y'all heard them. I don't know what that was about. Yeah, so Logan says, great cigarette, bro, approved. Yeah, this is, what is it, a Punch 2024. I normally am not a fan of Punch. This is pretty good, though. I am a fan. What the hell are they firing off a gun for right now? That was unexpected. And I don't live in the country. I live in a city. So that was really strange. I'm waiting to hear sirens and police come running through. Getting a little sore in the shoulders and neck. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fan of bourbon. This is Old Forester. One of my favorite bourbons, actually. Oh, there goes the cops. Just heard them. Oh, there goes another one. Got 2 cops. Sounds like another one's coming. Let's see. There goes the 3rd one. They ain't got their sirens on, but they're definitely running out there to see what's going on. That was pretty wild. You don't hear gunshots around here. If I hear them coming through the alley, though, I am going to go inside. It's kind of wild, just kind of waiting, you know, waiting to see what the police are doing. Oh, damn it, it's starting to come unraveled. I gotta use my chapstick to try and glue it back shut. No, sometimes I do. Bro, does it bother you I don't use an apron? That's the real question. No, I actually have one right there. I just don't use it very much. I always find it interesting on social media how people get very offended over what other people do, and it like seems to like hurt people deeply. I never understood that. Like the ones that get mad that you're not doing proper like PPE, and then if you are like a safety third person like I am, they'll be like, fine, don't blame me when you lose an eye. And it's like, dude, why do you even have to go there? It doesn't sound like you care. It sounds like you want to give someone a hard time. Sorry, did you misgender me? I don't know, bro's like a colloquialism where I'm from, so it's like just the way we talk. Am I making a giant spoon? I'm actually making a battle spoon. Let me show you. This one right here is a little over 5 feet tall. And this one's made out of pine. This is actually the template for this one right here. This one's white oak. Yeah, it is. It's been really freaking fun to make. This part has been very tedious, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. It's, you know, like I'm starting to see it shape up and stuff like that. Well, I might have to get the... No, I might be able to sand that out. As you get in there, you can see pieces that were not as well ground as you thought, but I might be able to sand it. You can use it to stir my apple butter in the pot. I ain't stirring nobody's apple butter in no pot. Hey, a lot of money and I'll do it. It's like $1 million and I'll consider it. Oh, I don't know why my neighbor was out shooting a gun. That was so strange. Even for these guys, some of them are pretty wacky out there. And then 10 Zinc says, looks like Central Asian guitar. I can see why you think that. It actually kind of does. That dum-da-da-dum-da-da-dum, that really interesting strumming pattern they have. But that, like, throat singing, very interesting style of music. I had a friend that got really into that. He actually got pretty good at the throat singing. It was impressive. Who is it? The folk band Hylung, the folk metal band. They do throat singing too. It's pretty cool. And Jamie Allen says they'll get OSHA, not their business. I agree. I'm sure they would love to call OSHA on me. Like, probably nothing would make them happier than to be like, got you. They always remind me of, like, Krusty the Clown. Little cows, it's got the littlest ones. I'm gonna call that good on this for now, and when I'm done, I'm gonna get some water on it, and then I'm gonna have it dry. And then I'm gonna sand it again, probably up to like 200. And then 10 Zinc says, are those wood dust? Won't make your lung weak? You know, there's a saying, eat right, train hard, die anyway. I actually was wearing a mask. I'll show you in a second, hang on. When I was doing the grinding part, I did have this on. So no, I'm not completely derelict, just mostly. Because dereliction's fun. Dereliction of duty? Why not? No, doesn't seem like the cops are flying around anymore, but they were. Actually, I might hit that with some 60 grit and see if I can take that down a little quicker. Oh, thank you. Yeah, if you do it daily and you don't have a respirator on, you can get what they call silicosis, I believe it's called. That is very dangerous stuff. I don't know how bad wood dust is for that. I'm sure it doesn't help. But like I said, there's a saying, eat right, train hard, die anyway. At the end of the day, that's just the reality of life. You can't be free of all toxins and particulates and whatnot. It's impossible. And there are those that can try and mitigate it. But I just see it as, man, people have had meteors come flying through their house. That's not something you can ever prepare for. Actually, yeah, let's break it down pretty good. Not as aggressive as I expected. That's cool. I'll take it. So no, I'm actually not French. I'm actually Polish, Irish, and Scottish heritage. So I did that just kind of as like a fun name, to be completely honest. There was no real reason behind it. I thought about doing it in Polish, But the Polish are not known for brevity, and the French do it much shorter, and it just works. I gotta turn this off, make sure I can listen to what the police are doing. There's just an incident where one of my neighbors went crazy and just unloaded a magazine. So I'm listening for the police because they came flying through shortly after. That was pretty wild, to be completely honest. You don't hear that around here. Like I'm in like a city, but we all live really close. So that was wild, even for this neighborhood, which actually doesn't get wild at all. Not anymore. Used to, when I first lived here, or moved here. I am gonna go do a bathroom break, and I shall return if you guys are here when I come back. Let's talk some more. See you in a bit. Holy shit, there are people still here. Okay, so there was a shooting in my neighborhood tonight. And so Tony, now I don't even know if you guys are even here right now. So there was a shooting in my neighborhood, which does not happen where I live. And so that's what happened. Here I am. Let's light a match. Let's actually go here. But that's where I've been for. I've been talking to one of my neighbors. There was a shooting. There was an ex that apparently shot up her ex's car. And let's turn the heat on. Oh, come on. If anybody is still there, what's up? I've been away for a minute. There was a shooting in my neighborhood. That doesn't usually happen where I live. And then people actually like disappeared when I said there was a shooting in my neighborhood. Alright, so let's see. That's what it does so Mac. Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting thing that happened. Didn't expect that to happen the way it did. Ended up talking with some neighbors for a little while. That was pretty wild, to say the very least. Alright, let's take that out there. And put this in here. Now let's see what's going on in TikTok land, y'all. Alright. Arthritis hands, and this is Rachel calling out Detroit, Michigan. Here I am smoking a cigar. But the aftermath of a shooting in my neighborhood. It was actually a pretty wild situation because I was live when it happened. But my thing is actually not journalism as a trade. But yeah, no, it was absolutely a shooting. I don't know what to say other than there was a whole magazine unloaded outside my window, or my shed, my workspace. And that is what happened to me. So I apologize for the brief hiatus, but hey, when shootings happen, I guess you gotta go sometimes. What's up, y'all? Where are you from? Alright, let's end this right now. Oh, we got 4 people here. What's up? Where are you guys from? I'm out of Detroit. We just had a shooting in my neighborhood. Not what I expected to hear when I was on the live. I was actually gone for the past almost hour and a half because of it. It was pretty fucking wild. Apparently it was an ex shooting. Yep, let's start this over. Let's start on a clean foot.